So this is the episode where Fabiana decides to pick a fight with everybody and lose any potential allies. Mary P starts by telling Teo and Rocky that she wants Josiane to go broke, and that's how she's going to teach her a lesson. Josiane goes and bothers Regis at the wine shop, and Regis just wants nothing to do with her. And Josiane getting kind of pathetic. She's legit begging him. She was like, Regis, I need you. I'm alone. Oh, girl. And Regis thinking, okay, maybe I can get something out of her, like to help Mary Peace. It's like, all right, I will only go out with you to dinner. And then they have a very awkward dinner. Like, Josiana's going on about her plans and how she can't trust Regis anymore. And then she just gets pissed off and leaves. Elsewhere in awkward dinners, Marcio and Kim are out. And Marcio's trying to act all cute, but Kim's not having any of it. Like, it looks like Kim just kind of like got over Marcio now that like the thrill of the chase is gone. And then she's like, I don't want to hang out with you anymore. I'm going home. And she gets home and Pasión is waiting for her with some more sushi. Like, Kim's a player, y'all. Amadeo wastes no time and he goes and visits Mary P. And I love how they support each other. Like, I know that Amadeo was kind of trifling when he first realized that Mary Peace was alive, but Amadeo really has come a long way too. Like, I really stand their relationship. Back at the factory, Fabiana keeps bothering Britney about being trans. Like, she needs to get over her transphobic ass. And Britney's like, listen, I'm a woman no matter what you say, so you can't be doing this. And then Fabiana straight up fired her. Elsewhere on the streets, Regis goes and tries to talk to Mary Peace. He really tried to be slick. Like, dude, you know she don't want to talk to you. Mary Peace answered rightfully so. She was like, I want nothing to do with you. And then Regis got put in his place yet again. And he was like, I'm willing to give you the money from the wine shop. And Mary Peace was like, I just need you to leave me alone. I don't want your money. I don't want anything from you, even though it's technically her money. She was like, I just want you to leave me in peace. You can tell she was very hurt. She was literally like on the verge of tears. Like, it's not right what they did to her. Elsewhere, Rocky recruits Agno to help him to get Josiane go broke. And he says he can come up with an investing scheme where he can make Josiane mismanage her funds. And the only person who can help is Teo, because apparently his family is wealthy, so it wouldn't be suspect if he like gave her bad advice. I didn't know they had money. Over at the hospital, the plot doctor tells Amadeo that Gilda is on her last breath. Like, that girl's dying. And then Amadeo has no choice but to deliver the news. Like, I didn't like Gilda's lying ass for how she lied, but honestly, she didn't deserve all of this either. I wanted her to get exposed and then move on with her life, but I thought like, damn, they really hit her with like a really harsh Rolana punishment. And then Gilda started talking about her last will, and she was literally like, I want you to move on with your life, Amadeo, which was basically like, go after Mary Peace. Honestly, y'all, Gilda was wrong for lying, but I still think this punishment was too harsh. She should have gotten a second chance. Fabiana continues pissing everybody off, and she calls up Kim and fires her over the phone. You know that Kim ain't about that life, and she was ultra pissed. So she ran over to the cake factory and asked her to explain. But Fabiana isn't a pushover, and she held her ground. She was like, I'll give you some of that contract money, but you ain't getting all of it. Like, was she making enemies left and right? Elsewhere, Marcio goes to visit Mary Peace, and he's telling her that Fabiana wants to talk to her because she wants her back at the factory. And poor Mary Peace gets so excited. She's like, oh my God, what if she wants me back? What if she wants me to her partner? But we all know this isn't the case. Mary Peace gets back to the factory and everybody's talking crap about Fabiana. So Fabiana, as always, pretends to be fake nice, and she goes on this long story about how she was raised by nuns. And Mary Peace's like, all right, girl, just get to the point. And then Fabiana's like, I want you back in my factory as the pastry chef, the job that Abel was doing. Like, girl, you realize Mary Peace built this entire business? And Mary Peace was visibly shook. And I wouldn't blame her. So we start the episode with Fabiana's ridiculous offer to Mary Peace to become her cook. Mary Peace is like, listen, hunty, I don't mind working for another person, but I built all of this, okay? Like, you are not on the same level as I am. Like, this is ridiculous. And Fabiana immediately goes into nasty mode. She's like, okay, then fine, you'll never work here. So she goes into rage mode and she kicks Mary Peace out of her own office. And Mary Peace is like, girl, don't you worry. I'm going to be back for this because I got the plot documents waiting. And honestly, Mary P shouldn't have said that because that tipped Fabiana off. And Fabiana is intelligent enough to know that the plot documents are important and that she should get them. And she immediately was like, Marcio, I need you to find them. But Marcio was like, girl, I ain't going to do a single thing if it's going to hurt Mary P. Elsewhere, Josiane being pathetic, and she trying to enlist old lady Gladys to help her get Regis back. And old lady Gladys is like, if you talking money, I do want to talk. And she was like, sure, I'll help you for money. She ran her ass to talk to Regis about how great Josiane is. I can't stand that old lady. But Regis saw right through this, and he immediately went to confront Josiane. And Josiane was shook. He was like, I don't want to be around you. You're trash, and I love your mother. I love the karma that she got. The fact that she tried to steal her mother's husband, and now she literally got the exact opposite. It's just hilarious. Literally, her own mom took back her husband. Regis wasn't messing around because he legit like raised his voice at her. He legit yelled at her. That's the first time he got that pissed off. You know he's done. And Teo swooped right in with the pizza to comfort Josiane. And he was like, you know I still love you. I always loved you. Like, this is a thing. And I'm hoping Teo isn't too comfortable with this revenge, because he was like a little too close to Josiane. Elsewhere, Hilda's legit on her deathbed saying bye to everybody. Like, they wasted no time getting rid of her. So Hilda says bye to everybody, and then she says bye to Amadeo, and she's like, I want you to be happy and move on with your life, aka look for Mary Peace. And like, I knew that Hilda was trifling and that she shouldn't have lied and she should have not listened to Josiane, but like, she didn't deserve all this. Like, they went in on her with these Villana punishments, and I'm not here for this. Like, I really wish they would have given her a second chance. These writers wildin'. But I hope they better bring this energy when they punish the other Villanos. And so anyway, Hilda passes away, and that was it for her. And Chicle was there, and he ran to tell Mary Peace the tea. And Mary Peace ran to go comfort Amadeo and the family. But tell me why Carlitos' annoying ass wasn't having it. Like, my dude, you weren't even in this plot. Like, why are you doing this right now? Like, he really came at Mary Peace talking about, oh, it was her fault that her parents' marriage was failing. Like, no, it wasn't. All right, Carlitos, like, you leave my girl Mary Peace out of this. And Mary Peace had no choice but to leave. The next day, Fabiana Birdass is here bothering Mary Peace. And she's like, stop using the Bolos de Paz name or I'm gonna sue you. And Mary Peace is like, girl, I ain't gonna stop nothing. That's my name, those are my cakes, and I'm gonna sell them however I want. And Fabiana's like, fine, I'm gonna press charges in. Like, Fabiana, Mary Peace is not gonna back down. She's not Josiane. You ain't messing with that little girl. You messing with the real one. And Mary Peace was extra annoying and started yelling her name extra loud just to piss her off. Like, she really doing the most. I love her so much. Britney also went and found an attorney to represent her. And she told him about the discrimination that she faced at work, courtesy of Fabiana. And the attorney was like, yep, you got a case. So Fabiana about to get sued, y'all. Later that night, Rocky has a boxing match against Pasión. And freaking Octavio and Rocky's sister show up. And Octavio really tried to come for Beatrice for hanging out with Jose Elio. And Beatrice set his ass in line. She was like, listen, me and Jose Elio are just friends. How you gonna come at me when you have a full-on side chick that's less than your daughter's age? And then she called him old and crusty. And Octavio had no choice but to just sit there and take it. Like, you messing with the wrong round now, Octavio. And this boxing match was extra messy. Like, Pasión really showed up and he threw Kim his ring. And she was like, well, I'm not gonna not accept it. And Marcia was like, girl, what is going on? And then we were treated some nice, no, this boxing match was really well done. And then Rocky beat Pasión and he had this triumphant pose. Like, y'all really went out for this boxing match. Amadeo wasted no time to go see Mary Peace. And he was like, yeah, we should get back together. And Mary Peace is like, anyways, let me talk about my problems. And she vents to him about the mess with Fabiana. And Amadeo was like, you know what? Legally, that doesn't make sense, but I'm an attorney. You do what you want, Mary Peace. I back you up 100%. I'll just bail you out if you get into any trouble. I love the way he's so encouraging to her. And she legit laughed. Like, he really made her laugh. Like, I'm so happy they're getting back together. And Amadeo really got Mary Peace, and they were almost gonna kiss. But then Amadeo got C-blocked by a cake. Vivi and Chicle continue to be childish, doing this stupid make each other jealous game. Like, I'm over this. It's been the same thing for 3 episodes now. And then Vivi goes to the restroom, and then Chicle goes in after her, and he sneaks a kiss. Like, can y'all just get back together? Because I'm tired of this nonsense. Anyways, we end the episode with Teo acting slick. He's like, Josiane, you know what'd be good? If you invested your money so you wouldn't have to work ever. And Josiane's like, I like not working. So, yeah, hook me up. Alright, yo, so we start the episode with Josiane going, I want free cash. And Teo's like, yes, fall into my trap, Josiane. And then Teo taking his revenge a little too seriously because he started making out with her. And honestly, everybody was horny this episode. Agno tried to corner Rocky and was like, well, you do stuff with me. And thankfully, Rocky is a man of principle. He was like, you know what? We're friends. And he was like, even if I were to do gay for pay, like, I wouldn't feel right about it. And then he was like, I can't. And I was like, wow, Rocky really is a great guy. And then Rocky got out of there, and I don't blame him. So Agno was left extra frustrated and sad, but look who came in. Mano Santa swooped right in, and even Agno was shook. And Mano Santa was like, I had a crush on you since forever, you shouldn't cry about Rocky. Like, y'all all over the place tonight. Anybody hooking up apparently. Beatrice and Jose Elio having a date, and then Abdias, who is Rocky's trainer, decides to flirt with Sylvia after Vivi and Rocky ditched him. And I'm kind of here for this couple. And continuing with the horniness, we have these two getting back together. And they do what they love doing. Honestly, this is my issue with this relationship. It has always been this. They shared like one emotional scene once. So they're trying really hard to sell us that they're this like amazing romantic love. But it really hasn't been like that yet. So I have yet to see why their relationship is so deep. The next day, it seems like everybody calmed down. Grandmama Evelina is like, by the way, Donatello still doesn't remember anything. And Mary Peace is like, I should really go search for my missing nieces now. Like, girl, it has been months. We're literally on like month 5 now. Like, you're just now thinking about searching for your missing nieces? And then she goes and hangs out with Eusebio to go see who his detective was so he can find the missing nieces for her. Like, y'all, you really had to go broke to do this, Mary Peace. Elsewhere, Regis tries to get some money for Mary Peace. He asked to borrow some money to pay back Mary Peace for the money that she invested into the wine shop. And old lady Gladys wasn't happy about it at all. But she was like, you know what? You're actually doing good with the wine shop, so I don't want you giving that up. So she reluctantly agreed to give the money. And Regis ran to Mary P's. He tried to be all cute, but Mary P's wasn't having it. And she let his ass have it immediately. And you can tell she was still hurt. She was like, because of you and Josiane, I lost everything. And then she continued to drag him some more and let him fulfill. And then Regis is like, but what do I do for you to believe me? Like, he really loves her and he really wants to prove it. And Mary Peace was like, if you want to prove that you're a changed person, then just become a better man. Which is, you know what, Mary Peace? That's excellent advice. Back at the factory, Britney lawyered up, brought her lawyer, and she was like, you have to give Britney back her job. And Fabiana was not happy. This is the first battle that Fabiana has lost, and I'm glad she did. And Britney was happy because she won this battle and she was acknowledged as a woman. Britney then goes and announces to the rest of the team that she's back. And everyone is happy except for Abel, who's still being a hater. Like, we used to stand Abel, but I'm so over him for his nasty attitude and how he treated Britney. And then they threw the extra tidbit about Britney being able to use the women's bathroom. And then I'm glad that the secretary said that she had no problem with Britney being in the bathroom for the ladies. I'm glad that they had this storyline. I'm glad that they really brought light to this issue. And I love how positive it has been overall. You know, this trans storyline has been so good. And then Fabiana gonna keep losing. So Rocky goes to see Fabiana and he's like, listen, I saw you harassing Mary Peace and you need to stop. Do it for me. And Fabiana's like, okay. But her ass was lying because she ran right after that to Agno to see how she could sue Mary Peace. And Agno literally called her a witch and was like, girl, I ain't gonna help you. You are trash. Get out of my office. And then Agno ran to tell Rocky what Fabiana did. Like, he wasted no time. And then Rocky goes and immediately confronts Fabiana. And he's like, you're really going to play this nonsense? You're really going to keep lying? Like, how dare you go against Mary P? And as usual, Fabiana lying ass is like, I didn't do anything. Agno's lying. He's just trying to get you against. But you know what? Rocky's smart. Our boy Rocky is way too smart. And he was like, girl, miss me with these lies. I'm done with you. And a pissed off Fabiana runs to go find Cassia. And she's like, there's something you should know. Because poor little Cassia thought that Fabiana was Agno's girlfriend. So Fabiana and Cassia go to Agno's apartment. And Agno looking like Mr. Crab. And then Fabiana's like, there's something you need to know about your daddy, Cassia. And then Mano Santa walks in, and Cassia's like, what is he doing here in your house? And Fabiana's like, yeah, your daddy is gay. And now Cassia's the one looking like confused Mr. Krabs. She's like, wait, what? And meanwhile, Mano Santa just standing there like, this is awkward. Agno had no choice but to finally come clean. Like, he should have just done this from day one. Cassia never struck me as being homophobic. I feel like she would have understood. Continuing with strange team-ups, last week we had Amadeo and Regis. Now we have Amadeo and Teo teaming up to help Mary Peace. Regis is like, I know that Mary Peace hates me and I want to offer her help. I want to get her money, but she absolutely will not accept any money from me. So I want Teo to help me get her the money. And Teo was like, I hate your guts, but I will definitely help you for Mary Peace's sake. And let's just talk about how Regis has evolved. This is why I love novellas, guys, because novellas, you're there day to day with the person. You're really seeing their progress. Like in a movie, you'll get like a 2-minute montage, or you'll get like a scene where they're like, oh my God, I've changed. But in novellas, you see it happen before your very eyes, little by little, day to day. Like we saw Regis slowly go like, I like her, or this is wrong, and then start to develop. Like the man Regis was at the very start is so different from this Regis who's just trying to make amends and really feels bad about it, and he really, really loves Mary Peace at this point. Like, I love this development. Now, on to annoying people. Vivi and Chicle are like, yay, we're back together, not that we care. And then Vivi's like, oh yeah, by the way, I forgot to tell you that Camilo has been snooping around and he wants to put you in jail. So it'd be terrible if Camilo found out that you used to be a hired killer. And Chicle's like, yeah, that would be terrible, wouldn't it? Not knowing that Mary Peace is unintentionally going to end up helping Camilo, because Mary Peace goes with Eusebio to seek Camilo's help to help find her missing nieces after freaking the longest time ever. And Mary Peace is like, yeah, I know I should have done this month one, but whatever. It's better late than never, right? And she's like, I need your help, Camilo, to help me find these girls. And Camilo's like, oh, you need help? Okay, I'll help you, but you have to tell me the whole backstory about your entire family. And Mary Peace, not knowing what she's getting into, is like, okay, if it'll help me find my nieces, fine. And here we go, more. So we start with little Cassia acting a fool. Like, this little girl was doing the most. She was, I mean, honestly, understandably angry. But like, girl, like, you didn't have to overreact. Agno had no choice but to come clean and was like, yeah, like, I'm gay, it is what it is. Like, you know, like, I'm sorry. Like, I was just trying to think of like the right time to say it. And then Fabiana gonna chime in and add more fuel to the fire. And she was like, yeah, he's a hypocrite. He tried to steal my man. And then Agno and Fabiana just start going at it. They start arguing. And then Cassia just gets overwhelmed. And she drops this little gem. She was like, I don't want my dad to be gay. Like, Cassia ended up being homophobic. Like, out of all people, I never thought it would be her. She was like, I don't want my dad to be gay. Ooh, girl. And she storms out of the house, leaving Agno distraught. But Mano Santa wasted no time. And he was like, you know what? Fabiana was dead wrong for doing that. I'm gonna catch her ass. Over in the hood, Cassia gonna keep that energy, and she really gotta come at Lyra's talking about, why didn't you tell me that your daddy was gay? But girl, she did tell you. Lyra's been warned. But what I wasn't expecting was for both old lady Gladys and Lyris to stand up for Agno. They were like, yeah, like you should respect him the way he is, and he's still your dad after all. And honestly, I really like that about them. Cassia was still a brat, and she was like, I don't want to talk to anybody, I don't want to deal with it. And then she went online again. God knows who she's talking to, and we know it's not somebody good. Over at Eusebio's house, old lady Cornelia freaking stole Eusebio's secret stash of money. And this lady really went and played it all on the lotto. Like, she was like, I have a feeling like she's going to become rich. And honestly, I remember her episodes ago saying that one day she would own Mary Peace's mansion. And I have a feeling that's going to happen. Back in Marlene's place, Grandma Evelina and all of them are catching up on the tea. And Grandmama Evelina talked some sense to Mary Peace, and she was like, listen, Camilo has something against Chicle. You really shouldn't keep telling him anything. So immediately after that, Grandmama Evelina goes and sees Don Antero. She brings him some clothes, and Don Antero low-key flirting with her. Like, Grandmama Evelina, like, you kind of being trifling, girl. Like, that's Marlene's man. We're really about to have an old lady freaking love triangle here. And I'm kind of here for this mess. And speaking of trifling and messy, Kim has Passion over. And as usual, she liking the attention that he given her. Girl's all into it. And she went right in for the kill. They started making out. Y'all is nasty, but I'm here for it. Back in Marlene's apartment, Tails shows up and he proceeds to carry on Regis's plan. And he's like, Mary Peace, I would love to give you this free money. Well, she said it was a loan, but it's her money. And Mary Peace is skeptical. And Mary Peace is like, this is really weird. Regis just came and did the same thing. Why would you offer me your money? And Tails like, I really value you and I love Josiane too, which I hope he doesn't really mean. And he's like, I just want to help. And Mary Peace is moved by Tails' kindness. And she's like, yes, I accept. It'll be just a loan, but I'm so excited. Like, she was so happy. And she hugged Tail and she was like, I'm going to start doing this and that. Like, Mary Peace gets to start all over again and she doesn't have to sell cakes in the street anymore. She's going to have her own store once again. I'm so happy for her. Tail runs and tells Regis that their plan worked, and Regis is actually happy that it's all going well. The next day at the studio, Vivi and now Sylvia are having random photo shoots. And Josiane show up talking about, that person who could invest my money? Hook me up, fam, because I want this free money. And Marcio really showed up like the jealous boyfriend, and he was like, where were you yesterday? You left me eating popcorn alone. And Kim's messy ass was like, I was with Sylvia. And Sylvia was like this bitch, like, she really gonna drag me into it. But she's a loyal friend, and she went along with Kim's crazy freaking idea. Like, both of Marcio's girlfriends really teamed up against him. Like, I cannot with this mess. And then Kim and Sylvia left, and then Kim started telling her whole tales about what happened with Passion. I love the friendship between these two. Like, it is so great. Over at the cake factory, Mano Santa sneaks right in, and he goes to Fabiana, and he was like, you were wrong for what you did to Agno, and you best make it right, girl, or there's gonna be consequences. And Fabiana, thinking that she was some little boy, is demeaning as always. She tried to put him down, and she's like, I ain't gonna do nothing. And the thug comes out of Mano Santa. He's like, bet, girl. We about to have problems then. Y'all forget that Mano Santa is A1 at what he does. He's better than Chicle. Remember, Chicle flopped like 80 times, and Mano Santa would have gotten done in one try. So I know he's good. And Fabiana was shook. She was like, oh, I guess I don't have a choice, huh? But Mano Santa made a mistake by saying too much. And Fabiana reluctantly agreed to make things right between Agno and Cassia, but she now has more information. You cannot give her any info, because she will find a way to use it. Elsewhere, Vivi is having lunch with Octavio, and I love their relationship. Like, Octavio might be a trifling, cheating piece of trash, but you know that he's a good father. And I love this aspect of the show, that all the characters are multidimensional. They're not just like a complete waste of space. Like, they're human. They might be trash, but there's still some qualities in them. Camilo creepily tracks down Mary Peace, and she's like, crap, like, how do I get rid of this guy? And she's like, yeah, like, like, I'm just gonna hire a private investigator, like, we're good, like, like, we're just not gonna use you. And of course, you cannot lie to Camilo. Like, the man knows his things. Camilo might be trash himself, but he is really, really good at sniffing out people, and Camilo knew. And he called her out too. He was like, this is about Chicle, isn't it? You cannot lie to Camilo, y'all. And now we're down to the last scene. So Teo brings Josiane to Agno, and Agno's like, girl, let me check your investments. And he's like, girl, your investments are like that dollar store investments. Like, you are making no money. And he's like, but I'm going to hook you up, though. I'll hook you up with some real good investments so you can triple your money. You'll make a ton of money. And we know that Josiane, dumbass, loves not working, not doing anything for money to magically appear. And her dumbass is going to fall right for it. And I'm here for this mess. So this episode was all about revisiting the Mateos and Ramirez's blood feud. So we really started with Grandmama Evelina and Marlene just chilling, and then Mary Peace pop in, and she tells him how she met with Camilo and how she told him like that they wouldn't be working together anymore. But Marlene's smart. She was like, listen, that dude Camilo's shady and he's sketchy, and he's not going to stop because he really wants to get Chicle. She's smart because Camilo is right on it. He's calling Mary Peace's hometown. and he got the number of the sheriff who used to be in charge back then, and he goes and get all the tea. Over at the corporate building, Fabiana is acting crazy. She barges in, and Agno's like, you crazy witch, like what is your problem? And Fabiana's like, you sent a hitman after me? How dare you? Like, you crazy. And of course, Agno has like no idea what she's talking about, and he's like, girl, like what is your problem? And she's like, well, fine. She was like, how will I make it right? You know, how will I fix things with Cassia? Like, I can talk to her, I can pretend to be your girlfriend. And Agno's like, literally, you're gonna make it worse, don't do anything at all. Agno immediately goes home, and Mano Santa really, they were just cutting a piece of cake like nothing. And Agno confronts, and he's like, dude, like, what was that about? Fabiana came and told me they tried to shoot her. And then Mano Santa came clean. He confessed. He was like, listen, they call me Mano Santa because my shooting game is A1. Like, Mano Santa, you want. And while Agno appreciated Mano Santa trying to fix things, he didn't appreciate Mano Santa being a freaking hired killer, so he told him to get out. And poor Mano Santa is left heartbroken once again. His ass got out there. Mary Peace is watching TV, which I didn't realize is major foreshadowing. And she's discussing the situation with Teo offering her the loan, and she decides to go right for it and start doing her new bake. The next day, Camilo's still snooping around, and he found the old sheriff. In my mind, filled him in on all the tea between the Ramirez and the Mateos family feud. But he said, don't get involved because they danger. Mano Santa moves back in with Chicle, and Chicle's like, did you get in trouble? Did you shoot somebody? And Mano Santa's like, nah, they soft boil. I didn't even shoot anybody. I just threatened them, and they acting all crazy. Like, y'all wow. And then they had this goofy older brother, little brother moment. Like, honestly, I love the dynamic between these two. Over at Vivi's house, Beatrice hanging out with Vivi, and Vivi's talking about how she met with her daddy and how he needs help getting them together. And Beatrice is like, absolutely not. Your daddy's a lying, cheating man, and I will absolutely not take him back. And I applaud her for standing her ground. But Vivi gonna once again be annoying and be like, but you should take him back because I miss our family. And like, Vivi, what family though? Like, your daddy was constantly cheating on Beatrice, and Beatrice was constantly feeling like a piece of crap. Like, I don't know what family you talking about, but that isn't it, girl. But Beatrice loving Vivi so much was like, listen, I'll consider it just for your sake. Like, Vivi was extra wrong for this mess. Over at the mansion, Agno shows up with the investor who's gonna help Josiane make money. And he was like, the only thing that will make you money, Josiane, is if you invest in the risky business of blood diamonds. Like, woo. And then Agno and Teo are like, that's extra unethical. Like, you're literally investing in slavery. And then Josiane, in her Verlana fashion, was like, welp, it ain't my problem they're slaves. Had they tried not being slaves, I'm gonna invest in it and make all my money. Like, you know what? After that, I'm glad she's going broke. Over at Rocky's place, I love how everybody just hangs out in this house. Like, they never got anything to do. They was just chilling in this house. Jose Elio and Britney are talking about how there's one lottery winner. Cornelia snatches that up real quick because she knows she's the one. And your girl was extra happy. Cornelia really rich for real. Like, girl got herself a bottle of wine and then she goes back and announces to the whole family that she won like over $200 million. Like, your girl extra rich. She really gonna buy that mansion from Josiane. Agno, Teo, and Rocky meet to update each other on how their plan is going against Josiane. And Rocky's like, I can't wait till Fabiana has to work a job. And honestly, that feels like major foreshadowing. And I can't wait to see what Fabiana's going to be working at because she's a good for nothing. But dumbass Teo is like, I don't want her to suffer, but I love her. Like, I really hope Teo isn't stupid enough to fall for his own game. I like how they actually bothered to develop Chicle's character in this episode. Like, Chicle and Mano Santa are just going back and forth. They're doing some banter about like being in love, and they're just discussing like the feeling of being. It's actually like a nice bonding moment between the two, and it actually gets us to know more and more of Chicle because I feel like we don't know him at all, and he's been so one-dimensional. And for the first time, he opens up and he's like, you know what? Like, I feel really insecure because Vivi is this rich, like larger than life personality, and I'm just like some random dude. Like, how am I ever gonna be enough for her? And that was really cool how they like actually bothered to make him interested. Over at Marlene's house, Marlene is helping Mary Peace makes cake, and Marlene's like, I can't wait until Don Antero recovers his memory so that they can get married. But girl, you in danger. But these Ramirez women are not to be trusted with because the hoe jumped out of Grandmama Evelina real quick. She really tried flirting with Don Antero. She was like, I made that soup for you. Thankfully, Mary Peace is the real one because she called her ass right out. She was like, girl, you did not make that soup. Marlene did. Anyways, Mary Peace offers Don Antero a piece of cake. And Don Antero starts chewing the cake and he has a moment and he starts remembering. And he's like, wait a minute, I remember you, Mary Peace. I love your cake. And Mary Peace was so happy. Like, Don Antero was such a great ally to Mary Peace, and it really hurt her to not have him there. So having him back is really going to even the odds. The next day, Agno's meeting with Cassia, who's annoying me so much right now. And Agno's like, listen, I didn't know how to explain it to you. Like, you know, I just wanted to wait for a right moment. And while Cassia had a right to be mad that she was lied to, you know, she didn't have to come to Agno like that. And her little annoying ass, who would have thought that she was going to be homophobic? She was like, the only way you can fix this is by getting a girlfriend. Like, excuse me, little girl, but listen, your daddy's not going to turn gay because he has a girlfriend, all right? Like, she needs to have several seats. I can't stand her ass anymore. We're really canceling this little girl. And for the last scene, Camilo shows up to Amadeo's house just asking for more info. And he's like, I want to know about the Ramirez and the Mateo's blood feud. And I want to know about Chicle. And Camilo making himself too obvious, asking very specific questions, tipped off Amadeo. Like, did you forget that Amadeo's a freaking lawyer? And Amadeo's like, listen, I ain't no snitch. I ain't gonna say nothing. You ain't gonna hear a word from me. But as usual, stupid ass Gael is there listening. And you know his ass is gonna go and snitch. I cannot stand him. I am waiting for these punishments to get handed out.